So welcome everyone to our live Q&A with Belinda Risley from Motivate Management on how to build your brand through social media and the importance of that. So Belinda, how important is social media when it comes to building your brand? The scale of 1 to 10, what would you say?
Well, to be honest, as you know, I'm a fan of websites over social media. So I would honestly say it's around about a 7, about a 6 to a 7.
Okay.
Because for those who know me and work with us, that motorsport is a business. And so for driving our brand and improving our brand, social media should just be that avenue to try and get more like lead generation. So more email addresses to go onto our newsletter is our best way. So email marketing, as far as building our brand, is the best way to go. And for our sponsors as well, because it gives them a platform for them, another platform for them to promote their products or services. So now more and more sponsors are asking, how many people are on your database, as opposed to how many likes and followers, especially since recently Facebook was shut down. Were you shut down?
No, I was fine.
I know. So I was shut down.
Really?
Yeah.
How rude.
I know. I'm like, well, I don't think I really deliver the news, but unfortunately I did fall under that banner. And I've been promoting that for many a year.
Yeah.
It's, prior to it actually happening, saying that we don't own the social media platforms. And so, if our government seems to have a fight, they can just switch it off overnight and you can lose everything. So I'd lost all access to my Facebook groups, my pages. But I'm fortunate that, my number one goal is building my email list. And, that's what we need to do as athletes, is to build our email list. There's very cheap CRM programs, things like MailChimp, that you can utilize. And if you want a free guide, just put in MailChimp in the notes or in the comments, and I'm happy to send that out. And so I've got how to set up your account and then how to actually do a campaign. Now, the benefits around about the campaigns or doing a newsletter, again, is it's targeted to your audience. So you can put content in, you can do a sponsor spotlight, you can do your race report, you can do something about me, something about my team, introducing my team members. So there's a lot of content that you can actually put into the newsletter, and you own that. So you don't even directly need a website. It's just a different avenue for promotion. But again, this is something that sponsors are now starting to look for. So how many people are on your database? Have you started to do a database? Because that gives them a different platform again to promote their products and services. So for example, with Mother's Day coming up, they might get in contact with you and say, hey, Jackie, we're going to do a Mother's Day range of chocolates, or a different promotion. Can you please promote it? And yes, you can do all your social media, but we know social media is very busy. It's very busy. And social media owners dictate what you see. And we know that. So if you seem to like a lot of motorsport posts, then that's the kind of feed that you're going to get. But if motorsport's just your hobby and you may be an author, then your content that you're going to get through is going to be a lot more specific around that. So, it can get, fallen by the wayside if you're trying to promote just on social media only.
So that's interesting. Like a lot of people would think of it that way, in terms of using social media to actually just drive people to their website. Correct. Rather than, a lot of people, see it as, this is this is going to be my marketing strategy, in terms of, getting themselves out there and sharing their information. Yeah, so it's a shift in thinking, isn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. But, and it came, to the front again when Facebook just switched it off overnight. And there were a lot of athlete pages that went down as well. It wasn't just, business owners. So I know about 4 or 5 drivers whose pages went down as well. And again, how they fell in the algorithm. But we don't control it. So we just need to have something that we can control, and whether that be a website or the newsletter.
Okay, awesome. So
ask any questions, Sarah. It's the table shots.
Yeah.
And Steph, hi Steph, welcome. Feel free. I can see you typing to Jackie there, so feel free to write any questions, Steph. I'm happy to answer it.
Yeah. So in regards to which social media platform, so we're talking, between Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, TikTok, is there one that's better than the others, or, does it all come down to target audience?
It does, but it also comes down to the why. And I think that's really important. I feel like a lot of the athletes and parents now feel like social media isn't a burden. They just want to go racing, and we don't want it to be a chore, because it shouldn't be seen like that. And that's why I keep saying, like, choose a platform that resonates with you. If you're a writer, then go on something like Facebook and LinkedIn and tell your story. If you are happy to be in front of the video and you're wanting to do content, then yeah, definitely do the TikToks and the Instagram TVs and Instagram Reels and stuff like that. But find what works for you. Don't feel like you have to be on all platforms. Realistically, athletes, they only need to be on one, and then just nail that one. And then it's easy to repurpose to all the other platforms, but just focus onto one platform, again, that resonates to you and that can show who you are, and that you enjoy doing, because it shouldn't be a chore. Otherwise you won't do it.
Yeah. So Jackie said that she finds younger people contact via socials and older generation via websites. Do any other people on here find that?
And Jackie, again, it comes back to we're a business, and it's what are those conversations? So are people connecting with us on socials because they want to network and catch up, or are people going onto our website because they're interested in sponsoring us? So from a sponsor's perspective, they're generally going to type your name into Google. And so that's why we say, okay, have a website. If you don't want that expense of having a website, there's a service called about.me that's free, that you can set up a one-page document, and it's kind of like an overall of your bio. It's whatever you want it to be, really. It's just a one-page document. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So Jackie, it's definitely the case, but for me, I want people to come to the website, because then I know they're really serious about their inquiry, whether it's through sponsorship or wanting one of our services.
Yeah, great. And Sarah, you have socials already, don't you?
Yeah, so my partner, we've got Insta for the race car, and we often feature photos of the car and tag in the sponsors, both for the series, but also individual sponsors who've said that they're happy to work with us, and we've got their decals on the car. And we do find that they, once they're tagged, and there's generally an acknowledgement and thank you for getting us there, you see that repeated and reshared on their channels, and as part of their, I guess, collateral that they're putting out to their followers, and particularly the the sponsor of the series, which is a US-based company. They're really hungry for content that actually shows their products and their sponsorship in action.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, well done on tagging the series sponsors too. I think people forget that almighty person who's making it actually happen. So it is important to tag the series sponsors in as well.
Yeah.
And it just depends, like Rachel was saying before, is where do your sponsors' avatar sit? So where's your sponsors' demographic? Are they older? Are they sitting more on Facebook? Are they in US and therefore on Twitter for that 120 quick service, more live updates? So it does really be dependent. And I think, again, so social media and sponsorship, it's having that conversation with your sponsors, where does your social media strategy sit, and where's your demographic?
I think that's really important. That's a really good point, I think, is asking where theirs is, because I guess it's no point spending a lot of time on Facebook if they're not on Facebook. As you say, if it's where their audience is.
Yeah, so I know a lot of the grassroots drivers are on TikTok, but I can't get myself to do a TikTok thing. It's just not in my genes. you know, I'm a group fitness instructor. I'm happy to get out there and do things. But I'm like, what on earth am I going to, like, I don't think me doing the Macarena or a dance or something is going to drive me clients. Is my demographic on there? Yes, but they're also not the decision makers. They're also not the ones that are paying for it. So for me as a business, my content on Facebook is different to my content on Instagram. The wonderful thing also about Facebook, if you don't have a website, is that you can have a Facebook group. And athletes kind of forget about that. And it's a free service that you can have. And that could be part of a membership. You could sell that. If you're looking for sponsorship, you might sell, hey, I've got this free access to me, and the content that you put into that group is obviously different to your page. But again, the content for your page is pushing people to buy a membership, giving you funds to go into this group where they get, you know, more extensive content. So especially if you've got a race team, Sarah, that's, you know, a great strategy to do. And it might be $5, it could be $50, and it can be dependent again on what kind of sponsors you've got. You know, can they join this sponsorship, this membership group, and they get a merchandise pack or a sponsors pack that you've got, especially if you've got a sponsor that has lots of products. And sometimes, you know, when people get a product sponsor, they're not quite sure, well, what am I going to do with, you know, all of this Penrite oil stuff, you know, but it's like, well, if you've got a database of even 50 to start off with, you can say, hey guys, this is what I'm planning on doing. I'm wanting to build this membership group or this Facebook group, and I'd love to do for every member that we send out this pack, and can I send out your product? You know, and then it's like those little nurturing things of those fans, like where you can do the birthday video, the personalized birthday video, that you send them a birthday card if it's still a small group, or, you know, depending on your team and what you've got in place, that you can do all these different things.
Yeah, so Jackie, your question that, or comment that you've put there, are you talking about content? I think when you popped this up when we were talking about TikTok.
Yeah.
No, there was sponsorship, that's what I need. Socials I find are wanting to work within motorsport, automotive. Website people come to us to work on their cars. Yeah. And Stephanie, do you have social pages at the moment? Like, so not personal, have you got pages?
And I guess just the other thing we're talking about, setting up your social media handles. Don't push your race number in your handle.
Oh, really?
Yes. Because again, from a sponsor's perspective, if they're going to Google you, they're not going to remember rate 69 carts. Do you know what I mean? Or,
yeah,
you know, and you see them a lot. And I do.
Yes, that's what I'm finding, that a lot of, you know, whether, you know, riders or drivers or, you know, like competitors, they're putting their race number, like they'll have their name, but they've also got their race number.
Yeah, like Valentino Rossi 7. You kind of get that, but then there's like the fan page, there's the supporters page, like, and then there's all these like other pages that have started. But from a sponsor's perspective, again, if they're going to Google you to find out more information about you, if they go to Belinda 14,
yes,
Hearts, they're not going to know it's me.
Yes. Yeah, good point. So it needs to be relative, and
Well, we need to be professional. We're a race team. We're, you know, motorsport is a business. I'll say that over and over again.
If there's one thing everyone needs to take out of this one, is that motorsport's a business. That the takeaway, and that's how they need to approach it. Okay, so Steph's just started a Facebook page and Insta page. Awesome. So getting followers. Okay, so she runs both pages.
So with that, Steph, again, if you guys want, so I've got a free Facebook group called Motorsport Sponsorship. Every quarter, I drop a 3-month social media content planner around with some content ideas. So if you want to join that group, Rach can put it into the comments. But also I'm happy just to add the link to the content planner here. And then obviously you can just utilize it. You go through and just delete what platforms you don't have. But when it comes to the content, again, we don't want it to be a chore, because then it, like Steph says, it's just like, it's the day of the race meeting and then there's nothing, especially if you only race like once every 6 weeks or 4 times a year. It's hard to come up with content, and that's a lot of the feedback that we get. We're like, well, what do we want? So
that was actually my next question. So what type of content should people be posting, which is hard?
So with the content planner, I always say work backwards. So go into the 3 months. So once every 3 months, just plan your content. So allocate 1 to 2 hours to do your content, and then start backwards. So go into the planner, put all your race dates down, any engagements that you may have with your sponsors, and then work backwards from that. So obviously, if you've got a race meeting, you can go in there and go 7 days to this race meeting, and then the lead up to the event. So it becomes quite easy. So 7 days racing Phillip Island. Have you been to the island? Have you bought your ticket? This is what I'm racing, and this is my journey. I'm leaving at 4 a.m. for the 7-hour drive. So, there's like 6 ideas that you can do leading up to the event. Then obviously on the weekend of the event, you don't again want to be spending your time having to do content. So just tell your fan base, hey guys, I'm racing this weekend. It's a state title. I'm not going to have access, especially if you are a solo athlete and you don't have a big team around you that someone can take all the photos. You might want to just do 1 or 2 photos, but just tell them, hey guys, do a video. It's the morning of the state titles. As you can imagine, I'm flat out. We've got 3 races today. I'm going to be on at 10, 12 and 2, full of us on Blendline, or it's going to be live streaming here. As you saw yesterday, I did put up the times, but just a reminder, that's what they are. I'll check in tonight when I'm having dinner and let you know how I felt about today. So don't put that, don't put that pressure on you to have to deliver content. Just tell them when you're going to deliver it. And then they'll be waiting for you, and it'll be more exciting. And then when it comes, Belinda Risley is live, they're like, oh, wow, how did she go? Because I haven't had time to check in onto the live streaming today. So it actually makes it more exciting. And then we know through the algorithm, it's going to get more reach if we are doing lives and if we are doing videos. So even if you hate doing lives and you hate being in front of the camera like me, you can always, have a photo collage going. Maybe someone has taken photos. Maybe you have bought photos from the photographer that day, or on a Sunday night after the race meeting. If you get a whole heap, you might want to do a collage of the photos, and you can just be the voiceover. So there's a lot of things that you can do behind the cameras if you're not confident in being in front of the cameras.
Videos are the worst, I think.
Oh yeah, you and I, we just say
painful.
They are. Like, no one really likes them, and like regardless of age. I mean, even the young kids, they get nervous and getting old, and everyone says, like, be authentic. It doesn't matter if you stuff up, but everybody wants it to be perfect. Like, we don't have the double chin, and we want to make sure we've got all our sponsors showing. Our hair looks great, the lighting's right. And there's so many things that we do overthink about it. But at the end of the day, when it does come to social media content as well, is that I always say to my athletes is that you're living most people's dreams. So people aspire to race, and you're doing that. So if you're doing that, just share your story. And everyone goes, oh, I don't have a story to share. But it's like, you do have a story. Everybody has a story. And it's about, how did you get started? So content ideas, again, like, how did you get started? Why did you get started? Is this your first car, second car, third motorbike? What have you previously had? Who, again, is in your race team? What's your favorite track? Who's your favorite competitor? What kind of I say PPE because I work in safety during the day. What kind of like helmets and race suits that you wear, and why do you wear that? Have you found a race suit that is better suited for female motorsport competitors that you've got from India or something that you can share? You'd be surprised how you can inspire others by just sharing your story. And again, people don't have confidence to share the story because they think, oh, it's not really exciting. Like, I don't race supercars or I don't race ASBK. I just knock around a couple of times a year. But that's great because people still want to know that, and they want to know, well, what does that mean? What does that actually entail? Could I do that? And if you inspire that and just showcase what you actually do, people go, you know what, I could do that.
Yeah, that's right.
And again, it's about showing the bad as well as showing the good. I think, a lot of the time on social media, it's like, wow, and I'm going racing. But, you want to share the crap, I frigging crashed and I was in the lead stories as well. Show that passion, show that commitment, and all of the aspects of the race.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Of your weekend as well.
Sarah, how do you go with content? Do you find it difficult? Do you struggle, or you're pretty good with content?
We're pretty lucky. Like the E30, they have their own social media. So sometimes, if like I'm flat chat helping out with the car and I don't have time to take photos, we can sort of repost those. But it's interesting what you're saying, Belinda, about things that seem really mundane that generate a surprising amount of interest. One of the things, my job's pretty flexible, so I've been able, I've done a few posts where it's like my laptop and my headset on top of the bonnet of the car because my workbench desk has been commandeered for whatever it is that Rory's trying to sort out with the car, and it's that sort of clash of like the professional work stuff together with the motorsport. And I've been really surprised at how many people have like commented, and people that I'm not sort of that connected with, but I know professionally, who are like, oh, this is really great, flexible working at its best and rah-de-rah. And I was sort of like, oh, that's nice. Which to me was like a really mundane thing, because it's like I'm taking a video call and using the roof of the car as a laptop stand. Like it's not that exciting, but like Rory just grabbed a photo and then I posted it, and I was really surprised at how many people were fascinated by my choice of laptop stand for the day.
Yeah, that's why I said you don't know what people like or don't like, and what resonates with one won't with another. But what it does with that one person, you might have a fan for life.
Yeah, no, that's good. So Stephanie's asked a question. What's your opinion on sharing crashes and accidents with sponsorship?
With sponsors?
Sponsorship.
Yep. I definitely. Hey, Steph. I definitely think so. Again, you want to share the good and the bad. And obviously it's really bad, but it does give you content after the event of how you fix the car. And maybe you get a new livery because of it. It definitely does give you the content. So yeah, definitely I say sell that with a sponsor, share that with them as well. You got to share. It's the whole journey. It's not just all the positive stuff.
Finally out of the train. The only reason I asked mainly is just like so we're like a family race team, and I race dirt go-karts through the winter, and my dad races speedway through summer, and he races sprint cars. So when they crash, they generally crash pretty big and they make a lot of mess. But he's sort of sponsored by the business him and my mum run, which is like a franchise sort of business. So they get like sponsorship through that. But quite often, like if they crash, a lot of people comment on it because they recognize the franchise, and they can get back to higher up in the franchise and they don't know what's going on. And so that sort of thing, we're always wary about that, because if you post up crashes and they see it and then they call him and go, well, okay, what's going on? This needs to stop. Sort of, it can reflect badly on their company. So, yeah.
As bad as it sounds, like all media likes a crash. So if you put a spin on it, you'd say, hey, we actually got a lot more airtime. We've got a lot more TV coverage. We've got more exposure because of the crash.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, it's very rare that a crash doesn't get covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like I said, use it to your advantage. I mean, one of the good things, and again, a lot of the other grassroots competitors that we work with are family-based businesses, and the same. Like, we are the sponsors, and it's like, but that gives you a great opportunity to play around with the car. It doesn't need just to have your logo. That's where you start to think that it actually is a marketing billboard, and what can you do differently?
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, like, with the dirt, and like if it's a Jim's cleaning company, like a Jim's cleaning franchise, how cool, like it would just like, you know, don't even have the logo, don't have the name, have the image, but, you know, like, we clean your shit, or like, you know, we clean your dirt. It's after 8:30, great, just after 8:30 I can do it now.
Yeah.
We clean your dirt. And like, for me as a spectator, that would generate my interest a lot more than seeing Jim's cleaning just there.
Okay, yeah, I think we've been lucky. We haven't had any big crashes in a while, but we had one a while back, 2 or 3 years now, where my dad rolled the sprint car, but no one thought he was going to be the one to roll in the race because he was driving all right and wasn't in the pack. So anyway, the photographer wasn't watching him, and after, like, he happened, the photographer spun and actually took a perfect photo of the car hovering in the air. And everyone around the world thinks it's Photoshopped. Like, it's gone around, it comes out every 18 months or so. It goes around the US and everyone's commenting on it. And
there you go.
There are a lot of jokes that people make about it, but just because of, like, so our business, like, we're McDonald's franchisees, so everyone has some kind of joke about it.
Yeah, but that's what I meant. You just play that positive spin around it. So if sponsors are complaining or wanting to know, just say, like, we've actually get more media coverage, unfortunately, but fortunately. And then the content around rebuilding the car gives you at least, you know, 1 to 4 weeks, whether you do it every day or like once a week. But, you know, that's where you could do, like, if you are on Instagram, that's where you would do like an Instagram TV series. Yeah. Like, if it's a really big crash, it would be, okay, well, and the series is called Rebuild 2021 or something. Again, you can come up with something more creative, but then you just do like an actual series, and again, it's giving your sponsors content as well.
Okay,
And Steph, please post a photo of that in the
I know.
I really want to see it now.
Hang on, I've got it somewhere. Let me see if I've got it on my phone. I find it, or like, I'll always go back to find it because I think it's hilarious. Oh man.
And are you in Brisbane?
I'm in WA. I'm in Perth.
That's why it's nice and sunny.
It's very light.
Yeah. It looked like it was going to rain earlier.
So WA, the sunny state.
So again, guys, if you do want some content ideas, I've got a strategy, 60 ideas around what to post. So if you want that, just pop it into the comments and I'll post it for you.
Yeah. So Linda asked a couple of questions. She couldn't make it tonight, but she sent through a couple of questions. And one was, you know, what if Facebook is no longer free? I guess it's that we just have to pay for it if that's, you know, an avenue we want to use, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, that's the benefit of having either A, the website, or B, your email marketing service. Look, we don't know what's going to happen with Facebook. You just got to be mindful that, again, you don't own it. Anything could happen. You just don't want to put all your eggs into one basket. So just having, although I say just concentrate on one platform. If you're out there trying to look for sponsors, Facebook, Instagram, all that isn't good. The platform, you need to go to LinkedIn. And so and then you would just be focusing on LinkedIn. And then if you do have a race team, you'd want a race team LinkedIn page and be focusing on trying to build business to business relationships on LinkedIn. And again, they've got LinkedIn Live now. They've got, pretty much all the functions that everything else, all the other platforms now do have. But that's what, if you're looking for sponsors, go to that platform. Yeah. You've got to remember, 15 years ago, no athletes had, 15 years ago, no athletes had any platforms to build on. And it was just all on email marketing or website based. Still doing your public relations stuff, so doing your press releases are really important as well. And because people now want content, but they want good content. They don't just want an image or something going, hey, like, you know, race today, finish fourth, or a big race report. They're wanting some more substance, you know, like, I've got a new sponsor coming on board. This is the first time I've raced at this racetrack. It's the first time I'm racing this series. They're wanting that more story-based content. And so if you do a press release around it, a lot of the, again, like local newspapers, local radio stations are going to be more inclined to pick it up. And I mean, that comes a little bit more into the PR, which is more Rachel's thing, but a new job. But, you know, it does all roll into one another as well. And again, it's just really important to make sure that you do have separate accounts. So you don't want to have your Facebook account, you want to have like your race page as well, just to make sure that it is separate. They can see
and I guess that's, you know, another thing that people need to think of is getting that name or that race team name. So whether it is just them or whether they have a race team name, and, you know, just be a sports team if they don't want to be an athlete, you know, but they still at least put themselves as a, you know, as a sports team and come up with a name.
Yeah.
So how often should we be posting?
Just be consistent is the key. So whether you want to post once a week, again, it's just telling your fans when you're going to post. So if you want to just post once a week on a Wednesday, then fine, just post once a week on a Wednesday, as long as they know it's going to happen on a Wednesday. If you do, like during video lives, Facebook lives, then, you know, just say every Wednesday at 5 p.m. I'll be doing a live Q&A and get your questions answered, but just make sure you show up and be consistent. Of course, all the platforms have a different kind of frequency rate, a preferred frequency rate, like Facebook you can go daily, Instagram you can do daily as well. But again, it's, if you're posting daily, sometimes your message will get lost in the big sea of content coming through. So if you just try and stick to a particular time, and you just need to remember, like, with as far as like what are you posting, again, if you are into writing, you might be writing blogs around different types of content that you might post onto your WordPress or any type of website, but you might just be purely just saying, hey guys, this week I wrote a post about why I got started in motor racing. To find out more, race over to our website to read it. You might want to do a podcast if you do like talking and public speaking. So your social media platform could be your podcast, and it could be, again, every week, once a month, daily, depending on whatever you feel comfortable with, again, without it trying to be too much of a chore, because you guys just want to go racing, so just go racing. And again, it's more to, you have fans to get sponsors. So again, it's having that conversation with the sponsors to what do they want. Maybe they would like you to do a podcast because you, on your resume, under your skill set, said that you, what's that word, Rach? The Lions Club? I can't, you know, they do
volunteer work.
Huh?
Do you mean like volunteer work?
No, you know, like there's that society that does public speaking. I can't think of it.
Oh, Toastmasters.
Yeah. So you might have that on your, you know, sponsor proposal, that you do Toastmasters. So they might say, hey, we'd love to do a podcast because, for example, they could be a car salesperson, a car sales yard. And so it'd be like, we'd like to do a podcast every week, and we'd like to do, because our people drive our cars. And so therefore we'd like to do a segment around motorsports. And you might become like a mini reporter, or you might have said, hey, I'm studying journalism in motorsports, or I'm in car sales, or whatever it is skill set is. And that's why I always recommend to put your skill sets onto your sponsorship proposal, or when you're talking to a sponsor, because again, you want to recycle what you've got as opposed to trying to create new stuff. And the social media content doesn't have to be motorsport related, like you saw, Sarah, or like you've seen. It can just be about you. It can be about what you're training, what you're eating. Of course, like you don't do those posts all the time, because there's nothing worse saying, hey, this is what I ate for breakfast. But, you know, it could be on race days, do you know, I only have shakes. And the reason being is because I get so nervous and anxious, and, you know, put in the story around why you just have shakes. You know, it's my stomach, the anxiety, I can't hold anything else down. you know, whatever your story is, just to share it. Or, you know, this is my training. And you might do something really wild, like rock climbing, for your motorsport sports. Or you might play netball and you're actually the captain and you've been undefeated for the last 2 years in the over 30s competition. Well, that's great because people want to know. And again, the reason why sponsors are looking on social media is because they want to know more about you. So they want to see who you are. They want to learn more about your personality. So as opposed now that, well, previously we would have to go in and do an interview and build rapport, but that's what they're Googling you for. They're trying to see who you are as a person. They wanted to know more about you, and not just about your motorsport life, but, you know, who's in your race team? Are you married? Are you gay? Like, whatever makes up your mix. How many animals do you have? Because all that makes you up as an athlete, and that's who they're investing within.
Yeah, very good. So Sarah, do you have like pain points when it comes to social media?
Well, when I was thinking about it, I was sort of thinking there's like a bit of a I won't say attention, but there's an awareness. Like when you've got sponsorship of a series that you compete in, and you have, by being a competitor, you have obligations around making sure that that brand's appropriately represented on your car, and I think that segregation of, say, personal social media with race team social media is really important, because otherwise, you know, everything comes up, including your comments on cat memes and various other things. So keeping that clarity about what you're talking about on social media, but yeah, just sort of having that in your mind, that you're not just dealing with your sponsors, but you've also got potentially obligations, or it ties into who's sponsoring the series or the track on the day, or those sorts of things. Like, there are other things that kind of come into the mix. I think the pain point is just like sometimes remembering to take good quality images on the day, even if it's not going to be posted on the day, so that you're not scrapping around for the next 3 days after a race trying to get a decent photo of your car to put on your social media.
I'm the worst. I forget to take photos all the time.
Yeah, me too. And I have meetings all the time, and I forget. Like now, like I haven't done one now. Like I should be doing one now. So, great, we should be doing one now. Like,
yeah, we should.
So,
yeah. And we did set up like almost like a group Dropbox for some of the drivers, so that we could all post if like some of the other team or crew members had good photos that they were happy for anyone to post, of just like collectively dropping in good images to a central place so that people could use them for their own accounts and that sort of thing. And that worked quite well. And we did that before COVID.
But there's also a fine line. And I guess that one of my gripes too is when I do audits, is that when I go to someone's page, if I see a photo of their car and then their profile's someone in their race suit and a helmet, it doesn't tell me again who they are. And I'm looking at it from a sponsor's perspective. I want to know who you are. So for your profile photos, both cover photos and profile image, stand next to your car if you want. Take your helmet off. Make sure you've got no sunglasses on so they can see who you are. Whether you're in a race suit or, you know, as a professional, sorry, in a business suit, whatever it is that you want to be known for, then do that. But don't have your helmet on or just a photo of your car, because that's not what people are wanting to see. They want to see who you are.
Yeah. And the only other funny thing that I just thought I'd mention, like when you're talking about the other things that go on to get you on track, we had, like, my partner follows the rugby league team and was doing some of the gym reps and those sorts of things and exercises that one of the players was doing, and sort of tagged him and saying, look, I'm doing, you know, some of your rehab stuff. And yeah, we were surprised where that ended up as well, that sort of got reposted and tagged, because it, you know, you're acknowledging someone with a much greater recognition in the market, but in a way that's like, hi, I think what you did was great, and I'm trying to do it in what I do. So that was a surprising sort of twist that we found.
Yeah, and Sarah brings up a very good point around about series sponsors. Most series will have a social media policy. So most drivers will already have it, but if you're new to a series or thinking about starting into a national series, there will generally be a social media policy. For example, like I work with the Porsche guys, so they can't post their own photos. So their social media policies, they only can use photos that they're given.
Oh, wow.
So therefore the content that they use, because the Porsche then can control what's being put out there. So they can't have like in-car cameras, only if Porsche allows it. Any photos to be utilized are only like through Porsche, whether they're paid or not, I'm not quite sure. But yes, so just make sure that you are aware of what your series policy is. And then of course, if you are sponsored by Penrite and you've got a series sponsor that's Worth, then you need to make sure that one, your sponsor is aware of who the series sponsor is. And again, it depends where you are, like in a national state series, and to make sure that the conflict of interest is known to both parties. Hey, like my major sponsors Worth, it's hard for me to tag you in as well because they don't want to be competing for the same party.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in terms of, I suppose, one thing that came up about a year ago was that we've sort of worked around was often young kids come around to the garage and they want to sit in the car and all those sorts of things. And because it had sort of become something that was far more prevalent around, if you're going to post, that you acknowledge that images are posted with consent of guardians and consent of people who aren't part of the team. So we'd sort of had all the discussions with the parents and they're like, yeah, that's fine, that's fine, kids in the car, that's cool. But that just being front of mind, because that seems like a lot of posts now have that acknowledgement of, this image is posted with consent if it's someone who's not part of your team, and particularly if it's a minor. I mean, it's a great image to have, tiny child in a driver's seat of your car having a great time. But that was also one thing that, sort of emerged just in the last year or so around how you deal with that.
Yeah, you can blur them out now.
Yeah.
Like I just blurred them out. Or like, again, take it from a different angle where their face, you can't see their face. So it's more like a side on photo. And you might be from the other side of the car. I'm not sure, sorry, if you have bikes or cars, but if it's from the other side, and that you can just kind of just see like the silhouette.
But it is, it's a consideration that, that you think, that you have to think of. So Jackie, we will, I'll ask you start thinking about your pain points and then you can type that in. So Steph, did you have any particular social media pain points?
That is a cool photo, Steph. Just post the photo. Great.
Yeah, sorry, I just found it, and then like some of the comments, every time it comes up, people come up with new funny comments about it. So, but
I would have that on my marketing, flying to get to Macca's.
Oh, there's
like great special coming on, like fly in now, and
I think the main thing is more just like because the corporation is so geared towards like only getting positive, well, not only receiving positive feedback, but sort of like they avoid negative stuff at like all costs. Like we saw if I don't know if you guys know Speedway people and NASCAR people, but like Kyle Larson in the US, NASCAR driver, lost his whole ride because McDonald's, the corporation, said we don't want him and we're pulling our sponsorship because of this thing that he said,
the Black Lives Matter.
So he got like out of the cut, like out of it, and
contract,
and NASCAR banned him for a year and everything, and he's only just getting back into it now, and it all worked out for him. But Macca's sort of followed him as a driver, sponsoring him not just in NASCAR but in all different speedway classes, speedway series, like all around the US, and that's all gone now. And like obviously a crash like this doesn't have the same kind of impact, but it's still like
it doesn't look like a crash, man. It looks like it's flying in the air.
The next photo there's like that was the first photo in the series of like this rollover, and so the next photo is you can just see the giant Macca's logo on the top of the wing, and it's all you can see because the wing is blocking out the rest of the car, and it made the back of the paper. And then Dad got a call from his like someone in the corporation that sort of watches over him and his stores going, please explain this, like so we try to, anytime like there's crashes and stuff, we don't post about them. Like if it's been a while since we've had a big wreck like that, so we've sort of been okay with it. It's not like we're hiding stuff. But yeah, and we're only just getting started on the social media stuff too. So
yeah, and Steph made a good point around about comments and trolling and stuff like that. And if you've been on social media, I get this week Chaz Mozzie's on a big rampage about the trolls. I can't remember specifically now what article it was last week. I think it was around Frosty or something. And then he was getting trolled about, I can't remember. But anyway, so Chaz is on this thing around about, social media trolling. Obviously, it's a big issue. Again, you just need to work out what you want to promote as well and what you believe in. Like if Black Lives Matter was something that's important to you, you've got to understand if you start posting things about it, there's going to be that negative feedback. And I on my main Motivate training page, don't get into any of the politics. So I kind of cover all grassroots sports, and there's a lot of animosity between karting Australia and karting New South Wales. And so I stay out of it because everyone's my client, and I don't want to see like I'm aligned to one, because then I feel like I'll alienate myself from another organisation. But again, like that's as a business, but that can be seen again for sponsors as well. For example, like obviously you're sponsored by McDonald's. It would be hard, if you're putting something there about Pepsi or or like Coke. I think you guys have Coke and McDonald's, like I was saying, like I'm a healthy athlete, I don't drink Coke, but yet you're sponsored by McDonald's. Like it doesn't work. So your messaging has to be consistent on your brand of like, what do you want to be known for?
Yeah, at the stage we're at with like, we only set up social media sort of at like halfway through the season, and it's more because we get we like decided to follow like the series, like like Sprint Supercars is the series and stuff. Like we've always just done Speedway Club meetings and the occasional trip as part of the series, but my dad decided he hadn't done much racing in the past 2 years, so he's like, let's do the series. And he lives 500 k's north of Perth, but he found someone in Perth who can be his crew chief and look after the car and do the work on the car, and we can keep the truck at his place as well with all the stuff in it. So we've done lots of racing in Perth and Bunbury, and we went down to Margaret River and Collie, and he's been up to some of the country tracks and all this sort of stuff. So there's photographers at each of these meetings, and they're taking photos of the car, and people are coming up and saying hi. And so we sort of decided, well, let's start this up, and we'll like post up a photo or a couple photos from each meeting. And our family was scattered all around the country, so they can follow it that way, instead of getting 10 messages constantly from 10 different people throughout the night going, how do you go in that one? And I'm like, I can't talk right now. So we've done that. We don't even have 100 followers on each yet, and most of it's family, and there's a couple people I know from karts who are following it as well. So we're sort of just growing, but hopefully as we get bigger we might find some sponsors through it. So
well, pop and that goes for everyone, pop your links, your handles in the groups here, so everyone can follow each other.
And so Sarah, just to follow up about the kids sitting in the car, one thing how you can monetize that a little bit more as far as like list building go is to have a hero cards. Do you have hero cards, like autograph cards? I don't have one here, but like especially like Speedway do it well. Like when you go to the pits and it's like just a little A5 card that you might have like an A-frame stand at the front of your pits, and they can get posters and you can autograph them and things like that.
Okay.
A good way to get a fan for life is to have those. So yes, it is a bit of a cost, but again, if it's a race team, motorsports is a business. This is part of your marketing budget, but it would have all your social media handles on there as well. And you can either have a QR code to sign up for our newsletter to keep in touch with the race team, or go to our website to sign up to grab our newsletter. Or if the parent allows you to take the photo, you could say, oh, in order for me to send it out for privacy, I'll need you to subscribe to this newsletter. So that then they're giving you that consent to send the photo out. But then for you're continuing to list build as well.
Yep.
And then you can do like you can go to something like Upwork or Fiverr, and you could get like an outline of your car, for example, with your livery, and just do it for colouring in sheets for the kids. So depending on if you have a lot of spectators attend your race event. But it definitely, like at Speedway, there's lots of kids there. So they always love a free colouring in thing. And if it's got your social media handles on it, they're going to want to take it home, put it on the fridge, and then dad go, oh, wow, Steph's dad went really well. I should jump on and follow him. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Jackie, time to start typing. Have you got some pain points? So while we're waiting to see that, so Belinda, just before we wrap up, is there any do's and don'ts in regards to
do's and don'ts? Obviously, each platform has its own do's or don'ts, but I guess the key thing is just to, again, have a clear understanding of why you're on that platform. Know your topic, or know what you're wanting to post. So what is your messaging? So tell your story. What is your story? Break your story up into content. Then work out obviously what platform you're going to be, but how you're going to promote it. So are you doing blogs? Are you just doing image and content? Are you doing a podcast? Are you having a newsletter? Are you going to be emailing, doing your CRM program? Are you going to have a website and just purely drive everyone to there? And don't forget the About Me page as well. And then just work out realistically, how much time can you put into social media? Is it once a week that you're going to do it? Is it once a month? And batch your content. And to plan ahead, use the quarter planner, work backwards as mentioned, and then work out your content from there. But if you do have those 2 hours allocated, you can still do all your videos. You can say, hey guys, just pretending, hey guys, we're racing next weekend. It's 7 days to the countdown. We're racing at Phillip Island. Make sure you follow the journey, and then you can have some water, come back. Hey guys, so excited, 6 days to go. I had a fantastic sleep last night. We're going to leave in 2 days' time. It's going to take us 72 hours to come across from Perth.
72 hours.
I think I'll be like driving Europe or something. Well, we might have to go via Darwin to pick up our new sprint car that we've just bought. So we're really excited. Stay tuned to our adventure. But, batch your content and then just do it. And again, even if you are going to do videos, you can mock the videos up and pretend, slash some oil on there, mesh your hair up, get your helmet head. People don't know any difference. And again, when it does come to the race weekend, you might want to just do it in the morning, do it in the night, or you do it Saturday and say, hey guys, I'll give you an update on Monday. Follow the live streaming or whatever else you want to do.
And Belinda, do you find, because I know there are some apps and people have shown me some like buffering apps where you can do all the content, line it up, and it publishes at certain times on your behalf. So you can kind of queue it up once a week,
right,
and then it just kind of does everything.
Yeah. So things like Buffer, Later, I use Later. There's always free versions that will get you so much. I think I pay $20 a month. The only thing with pre-scheduling is the algorithm, but again, it's not like you're doing it to drive business, you're doing it for brand awareness, so it's kind of okay.
Yep. Sarah, I use Creator Studio for scheduling, and that's just part of the Facebook business pages.
Yeah, Facebook,
which is free. And you can also do, if your Facebook is linked to Instagram, so if you're the owner of both, you can schedule on Insta as well.
Yep. So my handles are different. I couldn't get Motivate T on both. So one's T and one's _T on Instagram. So I can't schedule it, but yes, you can schedule it.
Yeah, so
but again, it is quite more complex than just going to Later or Buffer to do a Facebook business manager account and to schedule it. But yes, definitely schedule ahead. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, it does. It consumes you.
It does. And then that's what I'm saying. Again, just allocate 2-3 hours once a month or once a quarter, again, depending on how often you race, and then do the content, and then it's done. And like the post tomorrow could just be, what is your favorite racetrack, and have it as a poll, or just leave it like, just what is your favorite racetrack? And utilizing things like Canva, if you haven't already, which is free. I think Rach uses Creative Studio, don't you, with Adobe? No,
yeah. So I use InDesign and all that.
Yeah. So she's, she's like tech man. She's done a course in how to do design. I just use Canva, but just go to Canva. It's for free, and you can just simply ask the question. And again, like that's engagement. What is your favorite track? And then if Steph puts on your thing, Sarah, or Bunbury, oh, where's Bunbury? I haven't been to the track. What type of track is it? What type of racetrack is it? Or tell me some stats about it. And then that's how you start the engagement. And then the more engagement that you have on the post, then the higher on the algorithm it continues. The better reach it has.
So Jackie's pain point is getting sponsors. She has lots of interactions, but no sponsors.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to the sponsors live Q&A. Sponsorship live Q&A.
Again, I think I always said those posts on every platform. Hey guys, if you're looking to sponsor me, I'm looking for sponsors in 2021, and you should sponsor me because I'm great and I'm stepping up now, and I'm going to be racing in the Porsche Carrera Cup in 2021. So, pretty much if you've got 50,000 spare and you want to, come and, DM me for more information. I cringe every time I see those sponsored ads. I don't recommend them, ladies. That's my don't do those sponsored ads.
So don't do a call out for sponsors on
No.
your social media?
No.
Okay.
Leverage what you have.
Very good.
Network what you have. So leverage those sponsors, have a networking night once or twice a year. That's how you get your promotion. And then ask them to invite 2 or 3 of their business colleagues to come. That's where you invite your fan base. Hey guys, I'm having an opening night. I'm having a launch for 2021 race season. Bring your family and friends. So many things that you can do. You could have a golf day if you're into golf, if that's your skill set. You could do an indoor go-karting thing, if that's your thing. You could do a ballroom dancing competition. if that's what you do in your off time. Like, it doesn't matter what skill it is. It's just something that showcases you, and that we know, again, from sales, because most of it is business, it's easier to get word of mouth referrals than it is to obtain new referrals or to get new business. So same with sponsorships, same philosophy. Leverage the ones we have, try and get word of mouth. We treat our sponsors right, they're going to do the word of mouth and talk to their family and friends. And ideally, it's going to be aligned with your brand because you've already got them on board.
Jackie, I'm envisaging a networking dinner in the workshop.
Yeah.
Clear out the workshop space. We're coming down for a networking dinner.
Yeah. A night with JB.
Yeah, that's it.
Launching the female race team.
Yeah.
Obviously, have a panel. Speak to Emma or Kate to MC. Me and Rach will do it.
Yeah.
Rach will do it.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
We'll get that organised.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, that has been amazing. Linda, thank you. Ladies, before we go, have you got any more questions for Belinda? No? Well, if you do think of any, Belinda is in the group. So she's more than happy to answer your questions. Jackie's like, yeah, I love the idea of a networking dinner. We're going to get that organised. As long as there's wine, I'll be there.
That's right.
That's great, and we'll now follow each other on our socials. But it's wonderful. Thank you so much. And our next live Q&A is Thursday, the 8th of April, and that is with Kaz Plum. We're doing building your strength and endurance for motorsport with Kaz on that one. So that'll be another good one.
No worries, guys. Well, I hope you got lots to add about. I hope you got some few tips and strategies. I'll drop those links down once Rach posts this live. It will be under in the comments.
Yep. All right. Fantastic. All righty. Well, thanks everyone, and we'll see you at the next live Q&A.